In this video, I want to talk about the COVID crisis that we're all in, or certainly I'm in at the moment when I'm shooting this. And as so many people are seeing it, it is a crisis and there's so much bad that's going on. But there's also a huge opportunity. And I don't think that's been realized or seen enough by people. So of course, somebody can flag this in the comments and be like, Jesus, what are you talking about? So much positive in this when there's so much horrible going on. I'm not discrediting that. But what I do want to talk about is the slowdown that we've got. Realistically, this is a once in a lifetime slowdown. I would be gobsmacked if we will ever get a slowdown like this ever again. In talking to my parents who were in their 70s, they turned around to me and said, yeah, Jamie, we've never experienced something like this in our lives before. So what does that look like? There's far less going on. Everybody has to stay in their homes. You're not wasting time commuting. People are communicating a hell of a lot less. And that slowdown gives you time to think. If you've watched previous videos of mine, you'd see where I talk about people just being so overly busy that they actually don't even know what they're doing. They're living their lives reactively. They're getting up a little bit late, they're rushing to one meeting to another meeting, they're eating their food on the go. By the time they get home, they're completely exhausted. And if we really think realistically about where we've been over the last couple of years, I think we'd all agree that actually, yeah, we've been kind of working quite reactively. We've been living, God, quite exhaustedly. And this slowdown gives us the time to actually catch up with ourselves. And the big thing I'm thinking is that people are going to think for themselves a lot more. They're going to think differently. They're going to perhaps, in taking a bit of time, realize, Jesus, I'm not actually happy with the way things are going work-wise, or I'm not happy with that relationship that I'm in, or I'm not happy with that social circle that I'm in. And this time, this divide where people are actually isolated and given time to think for themselves, as I said, is a real gift because it allows them to think a little bit more constructively about the life they want to live going forward. And so what I'd really encourage is for you not to be all over the place in this space. So talking to some friends, that literally they're going to sleep at a different time every day. They're eating different food. They're essentially all over the place. They're drinking midweek. They don't know the difference between a Monday or a Sunday. And I think that has its place and that's a bit of fun, but actually introducing a little bit of a routine to your weeks. So a bit of shape, in terms of knowing what time you're going to bed at, knowing what time you're getting up at, knowing when you're going to do a little bit of work for whatever work you have to do. That's absolutely key to, as I said, give you a little bit of shape and actually then give you a bit of space to think. And don't shy away from that. It might be a little bit intimidating as you might come to a realization of, I don't like this in my life, or I don't like that in my life. It's nice actually knowing, because if you know, you can do something about it. So some of my friends have been having breakdowns and they're upset and they're all over the place, but that's actually not a bad thing. That means you're actually noticing an area of your life that you're perhaps not that happy about and perhaps needs a bit of change. And what's the first thing they tell everybody when they're looking for change is that once you realize that you need to change, that's the first step on the way to ultimately changing. So as I said, I would move away from the thought of thinking, God, you're banging the crisis and getting wrapped up in all that negativity, and actually start seeing this as a real gift, this slowdown as a gift, this detachment as a gift, this time to think for yourself as a gift, and use that time to think proactively for yourself in terms of what kind of relationships you want in your life, how you want to live going forward, how you want to work going forward. And when it comes to work, just remember that in times like these, in times of slowdown and pause, in recession, that's when all the startups come up. That's when, yes, some big businesses are toppled, but huge businesses grow. So it's the time for people to have new ideas. It's the time for people to think differently. And so don't shy away from that. Actually really lean into it. I think you'll be surprised of all the good that will come from this time in the next year, 2 years, 3 years. But we'll only really realize it when we look back. And what my encouragement to anybody watching this video is, don't find yourself in that position 2-3 years on where you look back at this and go, oh Jesus, there's so much opportunity in that I didn't realize. Instead, actually use some of the time to think for yourself now so you can realize that opportunity and have people looking on at you in a couple of years' time envious and in awe.